I'm gonna kill someone if I don't get some coffee right now, so first things first. Alright, so let's see what we have here. The first one I have is from Group Test, doesn't say where he's from. It says, when did you first ride a bike and what color was it? I was probably first riding a bike when I was about 2, but a two-wheeler, I rode a 3, and it was red. I had training wheels on it, and then my dad just kept lifting them up higher and higher until basically I was just riding around with the training wheels completely off the ground. He took them off, and I've been riding a two-wheeler ever since. And that was in Bayville, New York in 1988. This one's from Elliot Sherlock. What started you riding in the street? Definitely riding BMX growing up. I used to ride a lot of skate park, and I used to ride a lot of street, and it's kind of stuck with me. A lot of the things that you see me do here in the street, I originally was doing, on a BMX in the street. So that's definitely what started me riding the street. This one's from account I made to comment. How to conquer fear of falling while doing a manual/wheelie. I went over this a little bit in the manualing video. You want to kind of pull up the bike so far that you're intentionally looping it out and fall off the back of the bike. And by doing that, you're going to kind of learn where that balance point is. So when you get to that balance point, if you think you're going to fall off the back, you can kind of just jump off the pedals and stand up on the ground. And once you learn where that spot is, and once you kind of do it and get over the fear, there's going to be nothing to be afraid of. There's going to be nothing that can happen to you because you know you can just fall off the back of the bike. When you first start doing manuals, you think that if you fall off the back of the bike, it's going to be this big crash, but that's not really the case, as long as you gain some experience. Just do some really hard manuals and fly off the back of the bike a few times so that you can just get a feel for it. That's going to get you over the fear of it because you're just diving headfirst into the most fearful part of it. So that would be my advice on that. PK Guy 52 says, what's your current bike setup? This is the most common question. I get this a lot. A few other people ask the same thing. I have Derp Soldier, what's your bike? Shadow Wars, can you go over your bike specs and bike weight? And numerous comments on other threads. What's your bike? Tell me about your bike. I'm not going to go too deep into this because I'm planning a bike check video where I go over the bike in great detail, but I'll give you the summary. I bought this bike as a just stock Trek 4500 about 5 years ago. It had 3 front chain rings and all that stuff. It had pretty mid-end components. I think it was maybe $1,000 when I first bought it. Had hydraulic disc brakes, which at the time was, pretty cool for a $1,000 bike. Now almost all mountain bikes come with it. Since then, I've pretty much changed every single part. In fact, about 2.5 years ago, I broke part of the rear seat stay, and Trek gave me a new frame under warranty. So there are basically no remaining parts from the original bike here. It's a 26-inch. It's, I think, about 25 or 26 pounds, so it's not the lightest bike in the world, not the heaviest bike in the world. I'm about 5'4", so a 26-inch frame works out pretty good for me because what feels like 26 to me is probably what feels like 27.5 or 29 to you, because chances are you're taller than me. It's got a lot of kind of mid-end parts. There's nothing high-end on the bike. Rock shocks, race face cranks. I have a $12 derailleur on the back. The D&M dropper post is one of the most inexpensive posts on the market. I find that price doesn't necessarily equal reliability and durability. Usually you lose a lot of weight when you go up in price, but really it's how you ride your bike, not what kind of bike you have. So no matter what you have, you can do any of the things that we go over in these videos. So Daniel Herrick says, congrats on the milestone. You deserve a lot more subs. Thank you. Keep up the high quality content. Thanks again. Can we expect to see more of the make your own action camera videos? As you said at the end of the video, it would be cool to make DIY mounts, especially for a helmet, from the UK. Yeah, actually, I have some stuff on order to make it a little bit more durable and make us able to mount it on a lot of things. So I'll leave that as kind of a surprise for you guys to see what we're going to actually do here. The next one's from No Name from North Carolina. I am a new rider and I wanted to know if you have any tips for inexperienced riders to learn about bikes and also getting better at biking. I would say the best thing you could do is start riding with other people. Find a local group of mountain bikers and start riding with them, and you can learn from my channel and from other YouTube channels, but the things you're going to learn the most from are the people that you ride with. So I would say the best thing you could do is start riding with as many people as you can. Fakusu from the UK. Why don't you run a front brake? Good question. A couple years back when I broke my rear seat stay and Trek gave me a new frame, I changed a whole bunch of parts in the bike. And when I changed the parts out, I kind of made the bike into a single speed, and the bike did not feature a front brake because I wanted to be able to do bar spins. And I did that for a while, and I got bored of it, and I put gears back on the bike, and I put a dropper seat post, and now I have a lot of cables and things, so I can't really do bar spins without them getting tangled, but I still don't have the front brake. I'm probably going to put one back on soon because actually there's a lot of techniques that you can't do without a front brake. For now, it's kind of out of laziness that there's not one on there. These fucking flies are attacking my food here. So Elliot Sherlock asks, have you ever ridden a fixed gear bike? Yeah, actually. This past November, I competed in Red Bull Minidrome in Miami. I didn't really do that good. I think I got like 5th place or something like that. I crashed out. So I'm not the greatest fixed gear rider in the world, but I have ridden a fixed gear bike, and I might even do a video on, you know, how to skid, how to stop, how to bar spin, how to do some kind of fun things on a fixed gear, because they're really reliable and they're really fun. So I would like to do a video on that. Zippy765, where's the coolest place you've ever ridden? From Texas. Probably Woodward Camp. When I was like 15 or 16 years old, I spent a week at Woodward Camp for the summer, and that was probably the coolest place. Back then I was on a BMX, but they just have skate park after skate park, and you're riding with pros, and that's easily the coolest place I've ever ridden. But on a mountain bike, probably Markham Park around here is one of the coolest places I've ever ridden. You know, they build obstacles, they put big like blocks of coral around it for you to climb over, and there's some of the coolest trails I've ever ridden. The next one is from Tyler Chang in California. Is it harder to bunny hop or manual on a cross-country bike? If so, any tips you can give me from California? The tips I would give you are pretty much the same for any other bike. The differences in geometry between a cross-country bike and a trail bike are pretty subtle. You know, slightly longer stem, flatter bars, you know, things of that nature. I would say it's really not that much harder. One thing I would say is that cross-country bikes are generally made for just hauling ass in the flats, so you probably have your seat way up high. I would drop that seat and then try manualing and see if that makes a difference. The next one's from Callum Black. Can you show us your garage and toolkit? I showed you my toolkit the other day in one of my videos. Now my garage, I don't really have a garage. I actually put all of my stuff in a closet on the outside of my townhouse. I hang all of my bikes vertically on the side of this wall. My mountain bike, I actually need to take the front wheel off to fit in here. All the tools are on the ground in toolboxes. Even a bike trailer here that I tow the dog in is on the right side of the closet. So it's a pretty tight space. Got a road bike, my girlfriend's bike's in here, my trials bike, you know, it's all in here. Mark Hygen from the Netherlands asks, is it bad for your suspension or fork system to hang your bike from a wall or ceiling hook by the front or rear wheel? To be specific, I'm worried about the little bit of oil that's in the front suspension and whatnot. I'm Dutch, so I hope you understand what I'm getting at. I don't know how to explain it more specifically. Greetings from the Netherlands. Keep up the good work, man. Love your videos. Well, first of all, thank you, and you write better than most English people. I would say no. I put my bike upside down all the time. I hang my bikes kind of vertically on the wall. I've never seen any sort of damage come about on a bike from hanging it upside down. Maybe if you hung it upside down for like 10 years or something like that, but if you just left the bike in a shed for 10 years, it would probably not perform as normal. So I'm going to say you're pretty safe on that. The next question is about the bike specs, which we already went over, but this is from Shadow Wars in Pembroke Pines, Florida, which is like 10 minutes away from me, so I'll see you at the trails. C. Knighton says, I really thought this channel had at least 10,000 subs before I subscribed. Well, thank you, but no, actually. As of this video, I'm only up to 600. You're an early adopter. You just have really good taste in YouTube channels. What can I say? The next one's from Mike Roberts. My back wheel wobbles when I ride, so I can't ride my bike anymore. what's the problem here? Also, I'm from Massachusetts. Well, Mike, first of all, I would get that fixed right away if you can't ride your bike anymore. You have one of three problems the way I see it. One is that your wheel is bent, in which case you'd have to true it back into alignment. If it's so bent that you can't ride the bike anymore, it's very possible that you're going to have to replace the back wheel. Sometimes it can be fixed by truing, but if it's like a really big bend, you're going to have a problem. The other problem you might have is you have a case of what's called spaghetti spokes. If you can turn one of the spoke nipples, that little screw at the end of the spoke, if you can turn that with your fingers, it's way too loose. And if you can kind of squeeze the spokes together and they just move really easily, that's called spaghetti spokes. All your spokes are loose, and it's going to move around like crazy, and no, you're not going to be able to ride the bike like that. You get some simple tools like a spoke wrench and learn how to true, or you're going to have to spend about $15 at your local bike shop to have them true it back into alignment. Callum Black asks, and when did you start getting into biking? I think he left another comment earlier on the thread. Like I said, I first rode a two-wheeler at 3 years old. Then I got my first mountain bike when I was maybe like 7 or 8. When I was a teen, I was into BMX. And then I got into road biking, and I'm back into mountain biking. Antonio from Croatia asks, any tips on mountain bike tire pressure? It's really going to depend on your weight. I'm 150 pounds. When I'm on the trails, I run about 25 PSI in my front wheel and 30 PSI in my rear wheel. If you put your tire pressure too low, it's going to fold under and you're going to fall. I actually have one video crashing at Markham Park. I had my tire pressure low as usual on the trails, like 25 PSI, and when I landed, the front tire folded under and I completely went down. So I now, usually run it a little bit higher if I'm planning on doing anything aggressive. If you put your tire pressure up too high on the trails, then you're going to bounce around and you're not going to be able to take turns right. So I would say that you should put your tire pressure as low as you can get away with. For most riders, that's probably going to be about 30 or 35 PSI. For a really heavy rider, it's probably going to be more like 40. If you're riding in the street or urban assault, or if you will, that's going to be as high as you want to put it. I run about 45 to 50 PSI when I'm riding in the street because there's a much higher chance of me kind of bottoming my tire out on the rim because I'm not riding on dirt and sand. Max Top Gear 1 from the UK asks, are you thinking about coming to the UK because the trails over here are amazing? I've never been to the UK, and I would love to go one day to mountain bike because the trails over there are amazing. Whenever I see any videos that are uploaded by Chris Craig, for instance, I just can't even believe how awesome the stuff is there to ride. I'm from New York, and if you're into geology and plate tectonics, you know that the continents were kind of joined in that area at one point. So the geography in upstate New York and New England is very similar to the UK. Very hilly, clay soil, rocks, trees, rivers, creeks, things like that. So I'm kind of used to that terrain, and I do miss it. I would love to come to the UK and do some mountain biking, but right now I don't have the time or money or freedom to do that, but someday I will. Arnold from the Philippines says, can you please upload a video on how to bunny hop while on the rear wheel only? So I'm not sure if I 100% understand the question. I don't know whether you mean bunny hopping and then landing back on the rear wheel, or if you mean riding on the rear wheel into a bunny hop. It's a pretty specific concept. I might go into some kind of variations of bunny hops, do a video like that. It's worth doing maybe. If I get some more requests, sure. So anyway, thanks for watching my question and answer video. Thanks for your questions. Keep liking and sharing. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.